The issue that really frustrates me is this. Okay, so the government wants to get people into public transport. That is the stated objective of the government. The government are using a stick to get people into public transport in terms of 4.1 billion euros of fuel taxes last year, 1 billion euros in carbon taxes. Now, it's not that people don't want to use public transport. People are dying. They're crying out to use public transport. Every single parent in the country that lives outside of the core of a town wants to get public transport. But while you're using the stick to get them into public transport, you're actually denying them the public transport that they're crying out for. Now, there's a major contradiction in the government's plans in relation to this. And, right now, at the moment, we have pools of families in certain areas that all want to get to a particular school. They have the critical mass for a bus, but the government is actually refusing them those buses. And of course, this year we had, in the first time that I've seen, a case where parents had the tickets, they had the right, and then the week before, their actual services were cancelled. I'd known at least 10 services in Meath that were cancelled just in the week in advance of schools. So parents were scrambling around trying to find solutions to get their kids into schools, many parents having to take time off work just to be able to do that, and then obviously getting into big difficulties with their employers in relation to that as well. Thankfully, a lot of them have been solved, and I want to give thanks to the Bus Éireann staff who are in Meath who have been able to resolve those particular issues. But this chaos is not by accident. One of the reasons it's happening is a lack of capacity. One of the reasons you have a lack of capacity is because drivers and mechanics are not getting the proper pay terms and conditions necessary to get them into the sector. If you want to employ people, you have to compete in the marketplace for those people, and you have to make sure you have the proper pay terms and conditions to do it. The second issue in relation to this, which really frustrates me, is there's a lot of private bus providers who have the capacity, have the buses, have the drivers, and they can't get their buses into the system. Why? Because the tendering by Bus Éireann can often be very, very difficult. It can often be of a size. It makes it difficult for smaller providers to get their buses in there. And as well, the fact that we have increased energy costs makes it more difficult for smaller providers to tender because their margins are squeezed by those higher energy costs as well. I want to just talk about common sense in relation to this. The over-70s issue. I heard the Minister in relation to this being asked, why isn't that changed? And the Minister said, well, it's not our fault. It's actually the fault of Bus Éireann. It's their regulation that has a ban on over-70s driving school buses. But who's in charge here? The Minister is ultimately responsible. The Minister needs to sit down Bus Éireann and direct them to change that particular direction in relation to this.